Ideas? I would love to hear some ideas for this one. Just like, no. I really don't know. The door is gonna be my main enemy. Holy damn. Yep. Just fucking let me go. What the fuck? No! What the fuck? Temporary witch magic, it said. Alright, maybe use it witch time. How do you use it? Like... Because the only way I know to use it is to dot something perfectly, so I don't fucking know how to use it otherwise. Oh my god. No. What the fuck? Oh god. Yeah, my main enemy is gonna be a fucking door. Lovely. No damn idea. Really. Yeah, now it goes, but we can't get through it. So how do you activate a freaking witch match? Oh my goodness. You had an idea for a video game that involved boss fights with magic doors. I am terrified. What? Okay. Okay, maybe we don't use it. We can't go anywhere else though. How about these guys? Ah, fucking hell. Yeah, that did not go well. Okay, kill me again. Alright. Alright. No, what the fuck? Still no! Oh my goodness. What is this bullshit? It was the in Shadow of the Colossus only boss fights. Each door has a unique way of fighting you off, so you don't open it to move forward. Yeah, I gotta say I don't play anything that is like Shadow of Colossus. I'm sorry, no. That is no. I have given up with that game series completely, and I honestly don't like it. Like, no, just gonna completely miss that one. Hi Apromis, how are you today? Just read good titties are overrated and didn't second guess it for a while. But yeah, how are you today? Right. Lift, so we can go under the car, I guess. Oh, lovely. We're playing the new Halo. How have you liked it so far? Well, he has a fancy hair.
Do you believe in fate? Fate brought us here together, and it will never tear us apart.
Eh. Cringy. You only played multiplayer of Halo series, not a single campaign, but yeah, it's Halo. I do need to play it eventually as well. I hope I get the chance to do so. I've heard a lot of good things about it though. A lot of.
Sayonara. Fleur de ciré, eau de parfum.
You finally think arena shooters do well.
Bouquet. With its subtle hints of rosemary. You know, in the language of flowers, rosemary equates to remembrance. Which doesn't quite equate to you, now does it? Bayonetta.
What? Did he try to take a picture of me or what the fuck? Yeah, I can agree with that. Also, I'm not a big fan of the Battle Royale games. I just... not my cup of tea.
A name you better remember. Damn it! Wait! You can't just run away from me like that! I know what I saw that day!
Bum, bum, bum. Nyt bazookas and straight jumping, damn it. Ha, dear. Oh, that explains why he dislikes us.
Sure, my colleagues laugh at me for chasing fairy tales,
Hello, cat.
amongst other things. But I know they're real. I know the truth.
That we can play in our basement with takeaway pizza and monster drinks. Oh, freaking, I would like to have a pizza.
Smell. It's the same smell that clung to the air the day my father was murdered.
The good
Which
laugh.
means I'm right on your doorstep, Bayonetta.
I'll let you in on a little secret, Cheshire.
The name is Luke.
You need to hone your sense of smell, my dear. There's no rosemary in the perfume. After all, rosemary is a demon repellent.
The good laugh. Okay, now we go back with these guys. Alright. Oh, nice. Oh, fucking hell. Gonna get murdered by them. It's fine. It's gonna be perfectly splendid. Oh, fucking dick. Whoop. Whoop. Yoinks. I hate the camera angle on this one though. Like, it doesn't do what I want. Boop. Oh, fucking hell, missed that one. Missed that one too. Fucking hell. Whoop. Okay, well, I'm dead. Fucking hell. Whoop, whoop. That is so freaking close to be dead. Whoop! Ah! Would you like to give me some health? No! No? Okay, no then. Thank you for letting me live. It might be a good to look for place to pause. Yeah, I will after this one. I just want to get forward this part since we are into fighting scene. So I really don't want to, you know, redo it now when I kind of get the hang of the game. Can I skip this? Skip, okay, yes. Whoop. Wicked Weaver, nice. Oh, fucking hell, somebody got bothering me with that. Poke, poke, poke. Whoop. Whoop. Lovely. Almost did it without taking damage. Almost. Almost. Big almost. Fucking hell. I would love to get some heals. Would really like it. I don't think that's possible. Whew. Whoop. Here the music is already. Oh. Whoop. Whoop. Ah! Whoop. Whoop. One down. Whoop. Another one down. Ah, fuck! I can't see. Where the fuck did he go? I'm scared. Where did the big fella go? Did he just left? Because I'm pretty sure I didn't kill him.
You only run away so fast because you've got something to run from. Me! But you can't escape me forever.
Alright. Boop. Oh, I can't keep everything. Well. Okay. But yeah, I do think this is the perfect place to take the small break as we were supposed to. Hopefully it saves it. Also, what was that? It's a book. Alright. Boop. Broken with heart, nice. Though I do open this one before we go anywhere. Oh, okay, that was quite easy to open. Well, it would have been harder. And this one, boop. Yoinks. Alright. Right, where were we? Thank yous, thank yous. Also, I keep thinking as in Castlevania and thinking why I can't go through of this. Feels weird. Why I can't turn into a bat and go through that. Weird. Very weird. Reading time. Yes. I was waiting that you are actually on the chat. So, I think we are gonna read one part, since I have no idea how long these are. So we are reading Punicula, sent by Just Race. Well, or not safe for writing, since it's your birthday today. Let's we start from the first one, if I can. Okay, let me check how many pages it is. Oh damn, it's a long one. Okay. Let's see. Because yeah, if it's something that you guys actually like, you can read them more often. Just trying to look for how long I got to get it. Alright. Also, hi Yabuski, how are you today? Right. Now everyone sit comfy. It's Queen Reads ASMR or horrifying ASMR, depending on how you feel it. You're doing okay. Happy to hear. The Arrival. I shall never forget the first time I laid these now tired old eyes on our visitor. I had been left home by the family with the admonition to take care of the house until they returned. That's something they always say to me when they go out. Take care of the house, Harold. You're the watchdog. I think it's their way of making up for not taking me with them, as if I wanted to go anyway. You can't lie down at the movies and still see the screen. And people think you are being impolite if you fall asleep and start to snore, or scratch yourself in public. No thank you. I'd rather be stretched out on my favorite rug in front of a nice whistling radiator. But I digress. I was talking about that first night. Well, it was cold, the rain was pelting the windows, the wind was howling, and it felt pretty good to be indoors. I was lying on the rug with my head on the paws, just starting absently at the front door. My friend Chester was curled up on the brown velvet armchair, which years ago he'd staked out as his own. I saw that once again he'd covered the whole seat with his cat hair, and I chuckled to myself, picturing the scene tomorrow. Relatable. Next to grasshoppers, there is nothing that frightens Chester more than the vacuum cleaner. In the midst of this reviewer, I heard a car pull into the driveway. I didn't even bother to get up and see who it was. I knew it had to be my family, the Monroes, since I was just about time for the movie to be over. After a moment, the door flew open. There they stood in the doorway, Toby and Pete and Mom and Dad Monroe. There was a flash of lightning, and in its glare I noticed that Mr. Monroe was carrying a little bundle, a bundle with tiny glistering eyes. Pete and Toby bounded into the room, both talking at the top of their lungs. Toby shouted, "Put him over there, Dad." "Take your boots off. You are soaking wet," replied his mother, somewhat calmly, I thought, under the circumstances. But Mom, what about the... First, stop tripping on the carpet. Would somebody like to take this? Asked Mr. Monroe, indicating the bundle with the eyes. I'd like to remove my coat. I will, Pete yelled. No, I will, said Toby. I found him. You'll drop him? I will not. You will too? Mom, Pete punched me. I'll take him, said Mrs. Monroe. Take off your coats this minute. But she became so involved in helping the boys out of their coats that she didn't take him at all. My tranquil evening had been destroyed, and no one had even said hello to me. I whimpered to remind them that I was there. Harold! Cried Toby. Guess what happened to me? And then all over again, everyone started talking at once. At this point, I feel I must explain something. In our family, everyone treats everyone else with great respect for his or her intelligence. That goes for the animals as well as the people. Everything that happens to them is explained to us. It's never been just good boy Harold or use the litter box Chester at our house. Oh no, with us it's hey Harold, that got a raise now? We are in higher tax bracket. Or come sit on the bed Chester and watch this Wild Kingdom show. Maybe you'll see a relative. Which shows just how thoughtful they are. But after all, Mr. Monroe is a college professor and Mrs. Monroe is a laborer. So we think of it as a rather special household, and we are therefore rather special pets. So it wasn't at all surprising to me that they took the time to explain the strange circumstances surrounding the arrival of the little bundle with the glistering eyes now among us. It seems that they had arrived at the theater late, and rather than trip over the feet of the audience already seated, they decided to sit in the last row, which was empty. They tiptoed in and sat down very quietly, so they wouldn't disturb anyone. Suddenly, Toby, who's the little one, sprang up from his chair and squealed that he had sat on something. Mr. Monroe told him to stop making a fuss and move to another seat. But in an unusual display of independence, Toby said he wanted to see just what it was he sat on. An usher came over to the row to judge them, and Mrs. Monroe borrowed his flashlight. What they found on Toby's chair was the little blanketed bundle that was now sitting on Mr. Monroe's lap. They now unwrapped the blanket, and there in the center was a tiny black and white rabbit, sitting in a showbox filled with the dirt. A piece of paper had been tied to his neck with a ribbon. There were words on the paper, but the Monroes were unable to decipher them because they were in a totally unfamiliar language. I moved closer for a better look. Now, most people might call me a mongrel, but I have some pretty fancy bloodlines running through these veins, and Russian wolfhound happens to be one of them. Because my family got around a lot, I was able to recognize the language as an obscure dialect of the Carpathian mountain region. Roughly translated, it read, "Take good care of my baby." But I couldn't tell if it was a note from bereaved mother or a piece of Romanian sheet music. The little guy was shivering from fear and cold. It was decided that Mr. Monroe and the boys would make a house for him out of an old crate, and some heavy-duty warmers from the garage. For the night the boys would make a bed for him from the shoebox. Toby and Pete ran outside to find a crate, and Mrs. Monroe went to the kitchen to get him some milk and lettuce. Mr. Monroe sat down, a dazed expression in his eyes, as if he were wondering how he came to be sitting in his own living room in a wet raincoat with the strange bunny on his lap. I signaled to Chester, and the two of us casually moseyed over to the corner of the room. We looked at each other. Right. I think we leave it for now there, since it's quite a long story still. Or, up to you guys. Do you want to hear the rest of the chapter? I'm just checking, because like 2, 3, 4, 8 letters. I take that. Yeah, we'll continue the Bayonetta soon then. Like, if it's actually nice to listen, since I'm still very uncomfortable with my own voice, but if it's actually something nice to listen, then I keep continuing. Well, I guess we continue. Well, what do you think? I asked. I don't think rabbits like milk, he answered. Chester and I were unable to continue our conversation because a deafening crash commanded our attention. Pete yelled from the hallway, "Ma, Toby broke the rabbit's house!" "I didn't, I just dropped it. Pete won't let me carry it." "It's too big, Toby's too little." "I'm not, you are too." "Okay, fellas," Mrs. Monroe called out. She entered with the milk and lettuce. "Let's try to get it in here with a little hysteria as possible, please." Chester turned to me and said under his breath, "That lettuce looks repulsive, but if there is any milk left, I get it." I certainly wasn't going to argue with him. I'm a weatherman myself. At that moment the crate arrived, barely standing the strain of being pulled into two directions at once. "Ma," Toby says, "he's going to keep the rabbit in his room. That's not fair. Harold sleeps in his room." Only sometimes, I thought, when I know he's got the leftover ham sandwich in his drawer. Toby's a nice kid, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't hurt that he shares his task with me. It was, after all, at one of those late-night parties in Toby's room that I first developed my taste for chocolate cake. And Toby, noting my preference, has kept me in chocolate cake ever since. Pete, on the other hand, doesn't believe in sharing. And the only time I tried to sleep on his bed, he rolled over on me and pinned by my ears so that I couldn't move for the rest of the night. I had a crick in my neck for days. "But he's mine," Toby said. "I found him." "You sat on him, you mean?" "I found him and he's sleeping in my room." "You can keep smelly old Harold in your room, and Chester too if you want to, but I'm going to keep the rabbit in mine." Smelly old Harold? I would have bitten his ankle, but I knew I hadn't changed his socks for a week. Smelly indeed. Mr. Monroe spoke up. "I think the best place for the rabbit is right here in the living room, on the table by the window. It's light there, and he'll get lots of fresh air. Pete is taller than I am," Toby cried. "He'll be able to see the rabbit better." "Too bad, squirt." "Okay," said Mrs. Monroe through the clenched teeth. "Let's put him to bed and make him comfortable, and then we can all get some sleep." "Why?" Pete asked. "I don't want to go to sleep." Mrs. Monroe smiled a little too sweetly at Pete. "Look, Ma," said Toby. "He's not drinking his milk." Chester nudged me in the ribs. "Didn't I tell you?" he asked. "Excuse me while I make myself available." "Hey," said Toby, "we got to name him." "Can't that wait until tomorrow?" asked Mrs. Monroe. The boys shouted in unison, "No, he has to have a name right now." I have to say I agreed with them. It took them 3 days to name me, and those were the 3 most anxious days of my life. I couldn't sleep at all, worrying that they were going to call me Fluffy, as Mrs. Monroe had suggested. "Well, all right," sighed Mrs. Monroe. "What about, say, Bun Bun?" Uh-oh, there she goes again, I thought. Where does she get them? "Yech," we all said. "Well, then how about Fluffy?" she offered hopefully. Who the fuck calls all their pets as a Fluffy? Pete looked at his mother and smiled. "You never give up, do you, Ma?" Meanwhile, Chester, who had also been named Fluffy for a short time, was rubbing against Mrs. Monroe's ankles and purring loudly. "No, Chester, not now," she said, pushing him aside. "He wants to help us name him, don't you, Chester?" Toby asked, as he scooped him into his arms. Chester shot me a look. I could tell this was not what he had in mind. "Come on, Harold," Toby called. "You have got to help with the name, too." I joined the family and serious thinking began. We all peered into the box. It was first time I had really seen him. So this is a rabbit, I thought. He sort of looks like Chester, only he's got longer ears and shorter tail. And a motor in his nose. "Well," said Pete after a moment, "since we found him at the movies, why don't we call him Mr. Johnson?" There was a moment of silence. "Who is Mr. Johnson?" asked Toby. "The guy who owns the movie theater," Peter answered. Hi Square, how are you today? Good titles are overrated. Funny title. Also Bayonetta is the best. Yes, we will be continuing Bayonetta soon. At the moment we are reading Punicula. It's a birthday gift for the race who sent me the book. So I'll read a few more pages and then we will get my ass kicked in Bayonetta. So sit comfortable and enjoy or suffer through the reading moment. It won't be long. Right, where were I? There was a moment of silence. Wait. No one seemed to like the idea. How about Prince? Said Mrs. Monroe. No, Mr. Monroe. Dad, said Toby, are you kidding? Well, I had a dog named Prince once, he replied lamely. Prince, I thought. That's a silly name for a dog. We found him at the Dracula movie. Let's call him Dracula, Toby said. That's a stupid name, said Pete. No, it's not. And anyway, I found him, so I should get to name him. Mom, you're not going to let him name him, are you? That's a favoritism, and I'll be traumatized if you do. Mrs. Monroe looked in wonder at Pete. Please, Mom. Please, Dad. Let's name him Dracula, cried Toby. Please, please, please. And with each please, he squeezed Chester a little harder. Mrs. Monroe picked up the bowl of milk and moved toward the kitchen. Chester followed her every moment with his eyes, which now seemed to be popping out of his head. When she reached the kitchen door, she turned back and said, Let's not have any more arguments. We'll compromise. He's a bunny, and we found him at the Dracula movie, so we call him Punicula. Punicula. That should make everybody happy, including me. You always thought she was the original Bayonetta. Also, do you know Elvira? Oh, yeah, I do know Elvira. Well, know what you mean with it. Not personally. She's a freaking gorgeous woman, not gonna lie. One of those extremely cough-looking, beautiful ladies. What about me, Mother Chester? I won't be happy until she puts down that milk. Well, guys, is that okay with you? She asked. Toby and Pete looked at one another, and then at the rabbit. A smile grew on Toby's face. Yeah, Ma, I think that name is just right. Pete shrugged. It's okay, but I have to feed him. Okay, I'm going to put the milk back in the fridge. Maybe he'll drink it tomorrow. Since when bunnies are drinking milk? Yep, her show from the 80s was so good. Have you seen the others? There was Elvira, then there was the Morticia Adams, of course, and the third one who's... I don't remember her name. Damn. Because there was 3 horror ladies. And I guess there was a 4th one. I think so. Yeah, I think there was like the 4th one, and she wasn't talked about so much as the others were. Right. Yep, she was also great. You have a great taste. Right. Lily Monster. Oh, I think so. Wait a minute, Bayonetta is playing Bayonetta in a game! Oh, sorry, I forgot. I'm reading the rest 2 pages, but I forgot I was supposed to use glasses while doing so. For at the moment, we are having a queen at the librarian reads books for you guys. What about Chester? Toby said, dropping the frantic cat to the floor. Maybe he would like it. Chester made a beeline from Mrs. Monroe and looked up at her plaintively. Oh, Chester doesn't want any more milk, do you, Chester? You have already had your milk today. She reached down, patted Chester on his head, and walked into the kitchen. Chester didn't move. Okay, bedtime, said Mr. Monroe. Good night, Punicula. Toby said. Good night, Count Punicula, Pete said, sarcastically, in what I took to be his attempt at a Transylvanian accent. I may be wrong, but I thought I saw a flicker of movement from the cage. Good night, Harold. Good night, Chester. I licked Toby good night. Good night, smelly Harold. Good night, damn Chester. I drooled on Pete's foot. Mom, Harold drooled on my foot. Good night, Pete, Mrs. Monroe said with great finality as she came back into the living room, and then more calmly. Good night, Harold. Good night, Chester. Mr. and Mrs. Monroe went up the stairs together. You know, dear, Mr. Monroe said, that was very clever. Punicula. I could never have thought of a name like that. Oh, I don't know, Robert. She smiled as she put her arm through his. I think Prince is a lovely name too. The room was quiet. Chester was still sitting by the closed kitchen door in a state of shock. Slowly he turned to me. I wish they had named him Fluffy, was all he said. What kind of weird fanfic is? It's a Punicula, the book about Vampire Bunny. I got it gifted from Race, who also have his birthday today. Yeah, there aren't children. Yeah, but we might be reading more some another time. I might make it a channel point redemption if you guys are interested. Because it wasn't as bad as I thought. I have always hated to read out loud, but at the same time I noticed that streaming has quite helped with that, so it doesn't bother me anymore.